Hello and welcome to Top 10 Horror Movies of all time. You're probably gonna disagree with all of my choices, but they are my choices. It's my goddamn list. You're gonna accept that these are the best movies because my opinion is it's the best opinion. At number 10 we have Halloween 1978. This film was an American indie slasher, directed and scored by John Carpenter and stars Jamie Lee Curtis, who you may remember from such films as Freaky Motherfucking Friday. The film was the first installment in what has become the Halloween franchise. It is set in a fictional Midwestern town in Illinois. On Halloween night in 1963, a 6-year-old murders his older sister by stabbing her with a kitchen knife. 15 years later, he escapes from a mental hospital and returns home to stalk teenager Laurie Strode and her friends. The killer's psychiatrist suspects his intentions and follows him to try and prevent the killings. Many critics credit the film as the first in a long line of slasher films. At number 9 we have a film you probably haven't heard of. It is called Legend of Hell House. It's a British horror film from 1973, directed by John Hugh, or Ho, John Ho, I don't know, and adapted from a novel called Hell House. The plot revolves around 4 people who enter the Belasco mansion. They were hired by a dying millionaire to investigate the possibility of life after death. It has very few scenes of gore or special effects, which makes it all the more real and genuine. That is why this place is 9th on my list. At number 8 we have the legendary Silence of the Lambs. This classic is a 1991 American thriller that blends the horror and crime genres. It is directed by Jonathan Demme and stars Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, of course. It is based on the 1988 novel of the same name by Thomas Harris. In the film, a young US FBI trainee seeks the advice of an imprisoned Dr. Hannibal Lecter to apprehend another serial killer known as Buffalo Bill. The film won Academy Awards in all top 5 categories. It was also only the second horror film ever to be nominated for Best Picture. In 2011 it was selected to be preserved in the National Film Registry for its cultural significance. At number 7 we have The Shining. This is a 1980s psychological horror film produced and directed by Stanley Kubrick and stars Jack Nicholson. The film is based on the novel by Stephen King. A writer by the name of Jack Torrance takes a job as an off-season caretaker at an isolated hotel. His young son possesses psychic abilities and is able to see past and future, such as the ghosts that inhabit the hotel. After settling in, the family is trapped in the hotel by a snowstorm, and Jack gradually becomes more influenced by the supernatural presence. He descends into madness and attempts to murder his wife and child. The Shining was released as a mass-market film and has had a major impact on popular culture. Number 6 we've got a science fiction film. Can you guess what it is? It was made in 1979, directed by James Cameron and starred Sigourney Weaver. Yes, it's Alien. The crew of a spaceship is stalked and slowly killed by a highly aggressive alien. The film received numerous awards for visual effects, direction and supporting actress. It has also been highly regarded for decades and has subsequently been inducted into the National Film Registry for Historical Preservation. Alien spawned a media franchise spanning comic books, video games, toys, novels, and has also led to 3 sequels and 2 prequels. Oh yeah. At number 5, we've got Friday the 13th, 1980. This slasher, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, involves a group of teenagers who are murdered one by one while attempting to reopen an abandoned campground. It was prompted by the success of Halloween. It was the first horror film to be distributed by a major studio, Paramount Pictures. The film's success led to a number of sequels and a crossover with Nightmare on Elm Street. At number 4, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. This American slasher is directed and produced by Tobe Hooper. The film follows a group of friends who fall victim to a family of cannibals while on their way to visit an old homestead. Although it was marketed as a true story, it is entirely fictional. The film's low budget meant that Hooper had to use relatively unknown actors and shoot for long hours, 7 days a week. The film was banned outright by several countries, and numerous cinemas took the film down after complaints of its violence. It is credited with originating several of the now key elements of a slasher film, the use of power tools and the characterization of the killer as large and faceless. The film led to the making of a franchise that continued the story of Leatherface and his family through sequels, comic books, video games, and remakes, including the soon-to-be-released Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, which I'm sure will be just grand. Number 3. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess? Have a guess. It was made in 1984 and is another American slasher film. It was written and directed by Wes Craven and is the first film in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. That's right, it's Nightmare on Elm Street. Set in Ohio, the plot revolves around several teenagers who are stalked and killed in their dreams by the legendary Freddy Krueger. Meow, meow, that's right. It was an instant commercial success, profiting after just 3 weeks of release. It went on to make a significant impact on the horror genre, starting a franchise of sequels, imitations, and a television series. Now it's number 2. It's time for number 2 to be revealed. Can you guess what it is? I'm sure you've got a couple of films in mind, and it probably won't be either of them, because this film was not made in 1981. Why do I have it down as 1981? Let me just check. Checking the date of this film. Checking the date of the film, so I do not fuck up, though I already have fucked up. Huh. So it seems the date is correct. Well, that's very surprising, I must say. It's a low-budget horror film, and made in 1981, and was written and directed by Sam Raimi. You may remember him from such films as Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and even Spider-Man 3. The film was shot on location in a remote cabin located in Morristown, Tennessee. The filming process was very, very, very difficult and uncomfortable for all of the crew because it was in a very small room. Now, I do know what the film is yet. The film is Evil Dead. Ha! The story is about a group of 5 college students vacationing in an isolated cabin in a wooded area. They discovered an audio tape that releases demons or a demon, a single demon, who one by one possesses each member of the group, each kill becoming more and more gruesome as the film progresses. It holds an incredible 100% record on Rotten Tomatoes. It may have gone down since then, but I believe it's still 100%, and has developed a reputation as one of the largest cult films ever made. It has also spawned another media franchise, like most fucking films on this list, receiving multiple sequels, none of which were any good, a video game which was also shit, and a comic book series which may have been good, I don't know. I don't read comic books, I'm not fucking American. Number 1. You've guessed it, haven't you? You must have guessed it. I bet you knew what it was before you even put the video on, didn't you? Don't lie to yourself now, you knew. You know what it's gonna be. Number 1 is a film directed by William Friedkin, or Friedkin, maybe. It was adapted from the 1971 novel The Exorcist, and the film has the same name. So, yes, number 1 is The Exorcist from 1973. The book was inspired by the exorcism case of Roland Doe. A girl is possessed by a demonic force, and her mother tries desperately to save her by conducting an exorcism with 2 different priests. It is one in a cycle of demonic child films made in the 60s and 70s. Others include Rosemary's Baby and The Omen. The film earned 10 Academy Awards and became one of the highest earning movies of all time, grossing over $441 million. That's a lot, although these days the top grossing movie has over $2 billion. It's Avatar, so, it's not that much when you look at it now, but, it was a lot back in the day. It was also the first ever horror film to be nominated for Best Picture. And that's it for today's list. Top 10 horror movies of all time. Be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. We need those subs, man. We need them. We needs them. Check our other lists. They are top 10 indie horror games of all time, top 5 upcoming horror games in 2013, and we're soon going to be releasing the scariest horror movie monsters or video game monsters. I don't know yet. Haven't decided. But yes, very nice, very good. Be sure to subscribe. Really appreciate that. Be super happy. So yeah, goodbye. Have a nice day. Sweet dreams and all that guff. Until next time.